行くぞイフリート
That is right, guys. There's going to be a new series of units in the future. These are just coming out in JP for the 4th anniversary celebration, I do believe. And these are going to be some units that are merged / partnered up with Espers. So there's 4 units for us to go into today. We'll take a look at their TMR, Super TMR, as well as their skills and kits to see just how cool that they are and see if you guys are interested in these units. Maybe you can save up for them for the future. Okay, for the 4th anniversary for Global is when I'm assuming we'll eventually get these units. So the first one here is going to be Rain and Ifrit. The TMR here is 50% attack when equipped with a great sword, 30% fire resistance, and 2 limit burst gauge crystals per turn. It's an okay TMR. 50% attack, you know, for where we are now and for where JP is now, is actually not that great of an attack boost. It does have fire resist and 2 limit burst crystals per turn. So if there is some sort of fight where you want fire resist and attack on a great sword unit, you could use this there. Outside of that, though, it's nothing super spectacular. His super TMR is going to be a piece of clothing with 54 attack, 38 defense, 50% fire resistance, and 50% physical beast killer. So that's going to be a pretty powerful super TMR with 54 flat attack. That's going to help out your true dual wield builds or true double hand builds because it's all that huge raw attack on the body slot. It's got that fire resist and it's got that beast killer. Obviously, it's at its best when you're fighting against beasts, but you can put this on in other situations just for that raw attack, for that fire resistance as well. So very nice super TMR, not anything like super game breaking. It's just a really nice piece of equipment here. As you can see, he's going to be a Stardust Ray Chainer. And he's got a pretty straightforward kit. His weapon selection is pretty diverse. Great swords, katanas, hammers, knives, swords, all that good stuff up in there. His armor selection is bar none. Second to best, only because he can't equip robes, but he's a physical damage dealer. There's not really a lot of robes out there that you want to put on him. Now, we do have these skills here. His first skill is going to single target, not single target, AoE damage all enemies and AoE remove all status effects from all enemies. So a little bit of utility there. And then you're going to very quickly see that a lot of these units, I think almost all of these units, for the vast majority of these skills, they have a sort of skill-based system where if you use a skill before you use one of these skills, it upgrades. So the first one here is going to be 10 times hit, so it's a Stardust Ray Chaining family, 4.8 multiplier to one enemy with 3 to 4 limit burst gauge increase to the caster. If you use it after a particular skill, which we'll get to, it's a skill that kind of buffs him up a little bit and costs a little bit of his limit burst gauge. It changes into a 1.2 multiplier, followed by a 7.8 multiplier that increases your limit burst gauge by 6 to 8 and unlocks a triple cast for him for 5 turns as well there. Now, do remember the change, right? We've seen this with like Katy Perry and other characters. If you do use such as the skill, like the enhanced skill, into this skill on turn 1, you're going to get that boosted effect. You don't have to wait a full turn. As long as you use that skill, even if it's on the same turn, you'll get the upgraded effect. So keep that in mind. So nothing super insane there, but does unlock triple cast for him there. Fills his limit burst gauge up a little bit as well with some okay damage. Now the next one is going to be fire damage. That does fire damage per turn for 4 turns to all enemies with a 4.0 multiplier. But if you use it after the upgraded skill, it turns into a 7.2 times multiplier with an 8.0 burn, and then enables triple cast for him as well. So if you want to use triple cast, those are your 2 versions of the skills that you can use to unlock triple cast for the next turn for some huge burst damage, which, as we like to say in FFBE, as I like to say anyway, is the creme de la creme. That's always what you want to be trying to do. Burst damage is huge. Next 2 skills are actually going to be skills that are going to imbue him with either fire or earth, while imperiling for fire or earth of 120%. He's got 2 different skills there. You have to go ahead, if you want the imperil, use them after that skill to get the upgraded version. Otherwise, they're just going to go ahead and imperil for 80%. The upgraded version is 120% imperil. You just have a fire version and an earth version of that skill, and these are both Stardust Ray, and they also have decent multipliers once upgraded. As you can see here, 5.25 and a 10.5 multiplier on the same skill. You know, so the first 9 hits, 5.25. Last hit or so, 10.5 multiplier there for a little bit over a 15 times multiplier on both of those skills here. Now this skill here looks a little innocuous. 0.5 multiplier with 5.0, ignore 50% defense to all enemies. I hope I used that word right. I think I did. Maybe I didn't. Who knows? I'm sure comment section will let me know. But it's a Stardust Ray chaining frame family. And the thing to take away from this skill is you can go ahead and increase the multipliers with other skills. And this is going to get a huge increase in damage with those damage multipliers stacking on it, because it's broken up basically into 2 different parts, and one of those parts has ignore 50% defense. So this skill is actually going to do a lot of damage once you have those multiplier increases from some of his other skills. He does have permanent W cast. We also saw that he does have unlockable triple cast, and here's his unlock skill here, the skill that you need to use, I do believe, to buff up the other skills to the enhanced versions. Increases physical damage against beasts and plants by 100% for 4 turns to the caster. Increases your limit burst gauge fill rate by 150% for 4 turns to the caster, and increases the modifier for certain skills that he has by 5.0 for 4 turns to the caster as well. And I do believe that that is this skill right here that does get that buff. Right here, super strong 5.0 multiplier. So that's 5.0 is going to actually add a 15 times modifier to this skill right there, because 5 goes here, 5 goes there, and then the ignore 50% doubles this value right here. So that's going to be a 15.0 multiplier increase for that skill. Very powerful. And the if here stands for Ifrit, because that is who Rain is paired up with. You'll see that they have skills. You'll see like if, ba, AK, and DI, I think, for a lot of the skills for the different characters here. Now, he does have his cooldown skills. This is going into his 7-star kit. Everything before that was his 6-star kit. This is his 7-star kit now. 5-turn cooldown available on turn 1. 250% attack buff for 4 turns to the caster. Attack break resist. It enables triple cast for 5 turns to the caster. So if you want to enable triple cast right there as well, you can do it with that for sure. So that way you don't have to use like this buffing skill into one of the other skills. You can if you want to, or you can just use this skill to get the triple cast and maybe take the smaller imperil plus the imbue for yourself there. He does have another Stardust Ray skill down here. 10 hits because it's Stardust Ray. First 9 hits, 1.0 multiplier. Second or last hit here, 7.5 multiplier, ignore 50% defense. So that's going to be a 15 and 16 times multiplier without any of the buffs that this skill could get to its multipliers, which it does. The last skill here at 110, 3-turn cooldown available on turn 3. Physical damage 2.0 to one enemy. Physical damage 20.0, ignore defense 50% to all enemies. So that's going to be a 42 times multiplier on a cooldown skill there. Let's get into his passives here. Attack percent, fire resist, MP refresh, HP defense percent, earth resist, attack spirit MP, sleep paralysis, confusion resistance, 40% attack, 100% true double hand, a chance to ignore fatal damage, 100% proc rate when your HP is above 1%, so he's got that nice stay alive passive. His trust ability is 50% attack, 50% Ifrit bonus stats, increase limit burst gauge by 4 per turn. So if you are going to put Ifrit on him, he's going to get even more bonus stats from that Ifrit. And these sort of passives we're going to be seeing. We've seen them before. But as these Espers, eventually get maybe 4-star forms and stuff like that, these bonuses just get better with age. You are going to always want to put the proper Esper with the proper killer on. And ignore this sort of passive here. If you're fighting like a man or fighting a man, oh my god! If you're fighting like like a human or a demon or something, you don't want Diablos on for all that Man-Eater plus. You're not going to want to get the 50% bonus stats unless you can cap out your killers from some other sort of TMR, super TMR's equipment such as that. He does have auto cast this skill to start a battle or after being revived. He is a CG protagonist, so he does get a full limit burst gauge at the start of the fight, which makes him pretty possible for you to go ahead and use that skill that costs 14 limit burst gauge crystals that enhances all your other skills right away on turn 1. He is free to do so. He also has defense and HP plus 40%, 50% true double hand, 50% beast and plant killer on top of that as well, so even more, 20% attack, and spirit and MP plus 30%, limit burst damage plus 50%, and he does get modifiers to his skills. He also gets a modifier to this skill. This is the same skill that gets a 5.0 multiplier with the buff. So this skill right here that gives a 5.0 mod, this will bump it up from, not from 0 to 5, but from 5 to 10. So this is going to be a 10.0 modifier increase. That's going to be 15 ignore 50%. That's going to be a 30 times modifier right there. And you're going to get another 10 right here. It's going to be a 40.5 modifier that you can just go out there and burst someone down with those multiplier increases. Remember, one of them is always passive. One of them you have to go ahead and use the skill right here, and it does last for 4 turns. It's not like it's a hard skill to use. You start with the fight with 14 Limit Crystals, and I do believe that this skill here is also one that's bumped up by 8.0 if I am not correct, if I am correct here. Yeah, so this is the skill that gets bumped by 8.0. This is something you can just spam. So how strong does this skill get here? 8.0, that's going to take this to a 15.5 multiplier. Double that. The 15.5 mod right here, doubled. So that's going to be a, what is this going to be? A 31 times multiplier. 31 multiplier. Plus another 8 right here. So it's going to be a 40 times multiplier. He can just spam this skill 40 times mod to his heart's content. You don't need to do any sort of like put up my multiplier thing or any such things such as that. If you want a slightly stronger version, you can go through the rigmarole and do this. Or you can just go ahead and just spam this skill. Really odd that they did that in there to make it so you need to like use a skill to make this skill just barely better than a skill that's available all the time. But if you want to squeeze out that little bit of extra damage, that's something that you can do with him as well. Now, he does have triple cast, and that's the increase your limit burst gauge by 100 to the caster. We've seen that sort of thing before. His limit burst here is fire physical damage 24 mod with ignore 50% defense to all enemies. So it's a 48 times multiplier with a 120% fire and peril for 5 turns to all enemies as well. 32 costed, so not super expensive, and do remember that he has 50% limit burst damage in his kit. All in all, he's a pretty straightforward unit. No, nothing super crazy. You know, no real sort of support for his team or anything. He just comes in, hits hard, spams 40 times multiplier chains. If you want a strong damage dealing rain unit, this is going to be the one for you to look out to in the future. He's going to obviously destroy anything that is a plant or a beast, because you're going to be partnering him up with Ifrit. As you can see, he's got the beast killer, he's got the plant killer. You put Ifrit on him. Ifrit's got the beast killer, Ifrit's got the plant killer, and then he's gonna get bonus stats as well on top of that. So it's gonna be a big bad boy, is what we're gonna call him, the big bad boy Rain out here. Now the next one's gonna be Diabolos Sol. Diabolos Sol. So if you're a Sol fan, this is actually pretty cool. He's partnered up with Sol. His sprites look pretty nasty. I know his victory pose, like he flies up and he kind of like merges with Diabolos, and Sol actually gets like big black wings and flies away or whatever. Really cool. He does like that pose. His TMR here. Oh, his TMR is an accessory minus 10% light resist, 50% magic, and 25% demon killer. I don't like this at all. You're not getting any raw stats on his accessory, right? We have like Nutkin Hairpin from a 4-star base, 40 flat attack, 40% magic. And the reason I don't like this is because true double hand magic, true dual wield magic is a thing. It's very powerful. It's where you get a huge chunk of magic, and not having raw magic on here, right? Even something like 40 flat attack, or 40 flat magic, excuse me. If you have like 200% true dual wield, you're missing out on a lot. That's 80 magic right there. That's a lot of magic. If you're using true double hand, you're missing out on 120 magic. Not to mention the 40 from the accessory itself. So there'll be 160 magic just because you don't have any raw magic on your accessory. So your trade-off is the demon killer. I don't really like it. I don't think it's good. It's got a downside, and it's not that much better. Actually, I think it's just worse than a 4-star TMR, so that we've had for a while now. His super TMR, 60% magic and 80% dark resist. This one, I also don't really care for all that much. It does have the 80% dark resist there, though, so that kind of saves it. You know, if you have Diabolos on Sol and he's got his super TMR on, and you've maybe gotten the, I think Diabolos also has like the bonus 10% dark resist that you can get through the Esper board. You know, you could be getting up to 150% dark resist just for having one materia on and an Esper. So that could make you pretty tanky in dark damage situations, which are fairly common in the game. Now let's get into his kit here. His weapon selection, he's got rods, so that's all we really care about. He's got daggers and stabs and harps and stuff too. I guess there could be a harp, but outside of that, it's just like harps and rods are the two things we're looking for. He does have those. He has access to robes, helmets, and hats as well. So let's get in here. He's got dual cast, nice. He's got magic or human and demon killer buff for himself if you want to go through that. He's got chaos wave and mystic cross frames. Mystic cross is something that we didn't get actually in global. I do believe it was Veronica. I always want to call her Victoria. Veronica from Dragon Quest 11 actually had Mystic Cross in JP, but we didn't. We didn't have Mystic Cross. It's an 8-hit skill. It's like a newer thing out there. It's a new chaining frame that they're trying to start pushing in JP. It looks pretty cool, and we just haven't seen it yet. I'm sure we'll see it eventually, but he does have Chaos Wave damage, Dark and Fire and Peril. Then he's got this Mystic Cross thing where because a little bit of damage restores HP and MP to the caster. So if you're running low on MP, this is kind of what you can do here. He also has Mystic Cross with a Spirit Break, magic damage with a low multiplier there. You can buff Fire Resist and Dark Resist by 75% for 3 turns to your party. He's got a 200% magic buff for 3 turns to the caster. He also breaks your entire ally's spirit by 70% as well if you go ahead and use this skill. This isn't that big of a deal, just have Spirit Break Resist on your party. So if you want to have this buff up here, go ahead for it. If you don't have something better than that, that might be something that you're interested in. He has a non-elemental Chaos Wave skill here. He has double cast and triple cast permanently. And then we start getting into his real stuff. His Mystic Cross, 7-star skills. He doesn't really take off until 7-star, and this is when he starts taking off. So he's got a Fire and Dark Mystic Cross skill. They're 2 different skills. They go up to a 36.5 multiplier. They have a consecutive damage increase. They stack up to 6 times. Base 9.5 mod goes all the way up to a 36.5 mod for these 2 skills. So these skills just do damage. That's all that they do. There's no Imperil attached to them, so you have to use your other skills for the Imperil. And that's not that big of a deal because his first cooldown skill is a 75% Spirit Break to all enemies for 3 turns with a Fire and Dark Resist Imperil of 120% for 3 turns to all enemies, and enables a skill for 2 turns to the caster, which is Quadracast. His second cooldown skill here increases magic damage done against demons and humans by 150% for 5 turns to the caster. Enables Quadracast for 4 turns to the caster. I do believe that's Quadracast, yeah. And then enables a new Diabolos skill and another skill that you can use for 1 use. Not 1 turn, 1 use. So you can use this skill and hold on to it for a while and then use it when you see fit, as long as you do not die. Okay, so keep that in mind there. We'll go over those conditional skills in a minute. His passives here: Dark Resist, Diabolos evoke damage by 150%. I don't really think that's going to be that big of a deal. He's not a summoner. You're going to have a bunch of evil magic on him. It's kind of just like a nod to him being Diablos plus Soul, okay? He does have Spirit and HP plus 40%, Fire and Dark Resist plus 50% when equipped with a robe. Diablos bonus stats 40%, MP plus 30%, 100% High Tide, Blind, Paralyzed, Sleep, and Petrify immunity, Defense 20%, Spirit 30%, Dark Resist 30%, LB gauge 5 per turn, Magic 30%, 50%, excuse me, Magic when dual wielding or when true double handing. So true double hand and true dual wield Magic 50%. His trust ability here, 50% MP, 50% Magic, 100% true double hand Magic, and 100% true dual. I knew it was coming, guys. That's why I mixed up the other one. So he's got 150% true double hand and true dual Magic total. That's very powerful, especially the 150% true dual Magic, because most of the time, actually all of the time, that's only found on super TMRs, and it is the better of the 2 due to the fact that you get to wear 2 big daddy rods. All right, put them through item world, all that fun stuff. 20% HP, 50% magic demon killer, 50% magic human eater, and then 7% MP per turn there. Decreases MP costs of spells and abilities by 10%, magic and spirit plus 30% passive. Now, I don't think he actually has native true or native dual wield. So he's got 150% true dual wield magic, but he doesn't have dual wield. So keep that in mind as well there. Really, really weird thing for him to go through. Now his conditional skills, like we said, Quadracast. And then he's got this Diabolos skill here. Magic 280% for 1 turn to the caster. Increases modifier by 3.5 for 1 turn to the caster. Can't be dispelled for some of his other skills here. And these are his other 2 Diablo skills, his other 2 Mystic Cross skills. 13.5 multiplier increase. That is his 2 Mystic Cross skills. So if you buff these by 13.5, guess what, guys? You take those up to a 50 times multiplier. 50 times multiplier, which is pretty interesting. Sounds very, 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 very strong. But it's for 1 turn to the caster. So like if you have Quadracast, you could just cast this skill 4 times. Or you can cast this skill 4 times with a 36.5 multiplier, or you can cast it 3 times with 100 or with a 50 times multiplier. which is still very, 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 very powerful. It's just not like broken crazy powerful. You're not going to ever cast 4 of them at a 50 times multiplier. Now, the other thing that it does do is it does give you a 280% magic buff for 1 turn to the caster as well. It's an absolutely huge magic buff. Probably, I think it's maybe the highest in the game. It is for 1 turn. So it's some nice burst damage there as well. And I know someone busted out the calculator. Like, oh, but how? It's like a 1.5 multiplier. It's 1.5 multiplier higher. What do you mean it's not? I didn't say it's bad. I just didn't say it's not crazy. We're not gonna blow anyone away with like a 200 multiplier, you know, burst turn because we're gonna quadricast these at a 50 times multiplier. The other skill that he does have is pretty interesting as well, and not as strong as the other one. This one is a 50 times multiplier as well for 1 use. Remember, not 1 turn, 1 use, so you can only use this skill a single time. But it is non-elemental. But it does give you a 120% fire and dark imperil as well. So you can hold off on using this skill until later on, once your fire and dark 120% imperils wear off from your cooldown skill, and you can go ahead and put them back up with this skill and then carry on with just spamming your Mystic Cross. So he's a very straightforward character so far. He does have Reflect, Dispelga, Holy, and Ultima, of course. And then his limit burst here is a 28 times multiplier with a 50% spirit, which increases high tide rate for himself by 250%. So nothing super insane here. Very expensive, 50 limit burst crystals, and it's going to be a 56 times multiplier. Non-elemental limit burst. Wish they would have made it like dark or something, but they did just have the dark mage limit burst from Dragon Quest XI, so maybe they didn't want to do that there. So Sol, pretty powerful, very strong looking, just does a bunch of damage. Nothing super interesting with either of these characters so far, but they are, you know, they can put the numbers up for sure. Very powerful. I think this is probably the highest mage multiplier that I've seen in forever. Triple cast, quadricast with this. Very, 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 very strong there. So keep that in mind. So also the sprite looks amazing. Now the next one here we're gonna go over is Bahamut Fina. Looking like she came straight out of some Godzilla War of the Monsters game back in like, you know, like 1992. With I don't know what it reminds me of. This little sprite of Bahamut reminds me of that game. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you don't. Her TMR here is very interesting. Okay, 40% magic, increases Bahamut's bonus stats by 30%, and then automatically auto casts every turn. Increases your evocation gauge by 2 to 3. Evoke crystal. So this is like the I think this is very good if we want to use a summoner. I'll put that out there right now. You get Bahamut bonus stats, evocation gauge 2 to 3 every turn. This is kind of like the summer parasol from Silka and Citra and Folka, but that was like 1 per turn. This is 2 to 3, and it's an auto cast. I don't know if this will stack on the same character because it is an auto cast. I don't think it will, but if you wanted to go through and just make sure you had full evo gauge crystals every single turn, you could, or close to that anyway, you could put, like, you know, this on one of your summoners. Your friend's gonna have one probably. Maybe put this on your healer and then put one on your support. Kind of a dead stat materia there, but if you want to just have full evocation gauge every turn without even trying, you could do that in theory. Her STMR is a bow, which 112 attack, 178 magic. It's got weapon variants, bow weapon variants, the usual one, and then increases Bahamut's evoke damage by 50%. Now remember, Bahamut has a 2-star form in JP. He's pretty powerful. He's got all of the killers in the game as well. Keep that in mind. 50% killers though, only for all of them. So you can't like double up on killer plus or anything like that. But he does have very, very high stats too. So if you want to boost your stats up too, you can also just stack that TMR a bunch to get, you know, 30, 60, 90, 120% extra Bahamut bonus stats. Not really worth it right now, but maybe in the future, but when Bahamut gets 3-star, okay, get really high bonus stats there. Her bow, pretty powerful. Bahamut's evoke damage is really, really high, especially at 2-star form. And then we're going to get into her kit here. So her kit, this might be the first character where I'm going to be like, I don't really like her. And I'll tell you why, all right? Because she does look like she does very powerful things. So she's got rods, staves, bows, whips, maces, hats, clothing, and robes. All right, so let's get in here. She's also a Mystic Cross chainer, so big Mystic Cross coming up in here. Light magic damage, cure all status ailments, restore 50 MP to all allies, and then 50 MP each turn for 3 turns. Evocation gauge increased by 1 to 2. Auto cast, or can cast dual cast magic. Then we have her first skill here, the Bahamut Skill. Dark magic damage to all enemies, increase limit burst gauge by 3 to 4. Mystic Cross Chain. We have light and dark resist 80% for 3 turns to all allies. Heal over time to all allies, increase evocation gauge. Light magic damage 7.5 to all enemies, increase light resist by 80%. Or decrease light resist by 80%, excuse me, for 3 turns to all enemies. Enables a skill for 4 turns to the caster, and then Mystic Cross here. Same thing, but dark version. As well as her next skill. She does have permanent dual cast, which can do everything except help you dual cast magic, okay? Then we get into her cooldown skills. That was her basic kit, like 7.5 mult, doesn't do anything at all at 6-star, which is pretty traditional nowadays. 7-star kit, 4-turn cooldown. All right, decrease light and dark resist 120% for 3 turns to all enemies. Refresh 300 MP split over 3 turns to the caster, so 100 MP per turn. Then auto cast the next turn, you increase evocation gauge by 5, and then the turn after that 5 more, and then the turn after that 5 more. So you set up to get 15 evocation gauges over the course of the next couple of turns, which is very powerful. It'll let you set up your damage every single turn. You know, maybe you'll chain, do some damage, drop some orbs. You know, maybe fill up a couple parts of your gauge there, maybe get all your gauge back in combination with this. So pretty powerful skill there. And then her 2 skills here: Mystic Cross, light evoke damage, 40 times multiplier with 100% magic ratio to all enemies, and enables triple cast for 4 turns to the caster. And then she has a dark version as well. This also costs 5 Esper gauge crystals. So this uses half your Esper gauge, 20 times multiplier as well for both of these. So 40 times multiplier as well. This isn't a hybrid skill. It's 100% magic, so it's straight up 40 times mod. Very powerful. You can only cast this 2 times in 1 turn though. So you literally do not want to pair her with a dupe character, because you'll be needing 20 limit burst crystals if you want to dual cast these skills together, which is fine. Mystic Cross is going to be a pretty prevalent go-to chaining frame family, so she's got the dark, she's got the light. That is fine. All right, so you cast 2 of these per turn. It unlocks triple cast. Don't know what you're going to do with that other skill. You know, you're not doing more damage with it because, listen, Evo gauge caps out at 10. You can't ever cast 3 of these. There's literally never a world that exists where you can triple cast either of these skills, so keep that in mind there. All right, 3-turn cooldown available on turn 3. Magic damage 38 times multiplier to all enemies. Increased modifier times 6 for a skill here, and times 6 for a skill here as well. 6 times mod increase, which increases her other skills pretty potently. These are not these skills here. These are not getting the 5 and 6 times multipliers. I'm assuming it's these 2 skills. I'm pretty sure. It looks like it's these 2 skills that are getting the 5 and 6 times multiplier increases, which is fine. All right, we'll go down in here as well. Look at our passives. Defense and magic plus 20%, 7% MP per turn, 100% high tide, 30% MP, HP and magic when equipped with a bow. So you can use that Bloody Moon bow from the Bloody Moon Reborn trial fight if you so desire. Silence, confusion, immunity, attack, defense, magic, and spirit plus 30%, light and dark resist 20%, increased equipment magic when single wielding any weapon, so 50% true double hand magic, 100% beast magic killer, 100% magic reaper killer, Bahamut bonus stats plus 20%, enables dual wield for some reason. Sol doesn't have it, but she does, even though she wants to be using bows in one hand. TMR and super TMR equipped, so her trustability, 50% magic, 30% Bahamut bonus stats, 4 limit burst gauge crystals per turn, 5% MP refresh per turn, 30% MP, 50% limit burst damage, 100% true double hand magic, 50% true dual wield magic, increased magic by 20%, increased magic and HP by 20%, increased modifiers of her other 2 skills that we went over, the non-evoke damage skills by 6 and 5 as well. So let's take this up. These are going to get like an 11 times multiplier increase. So, you know, they're going to be right around a 20 times multiplier, somewhere around there, depending on which skill you're looking at here. So that's her non-evoke damage skills. Now, notice one thing. She doesn't have any Evo damage at all, period, which is a plus and it's a minus. So what do you do here? She's going to be, let's go over these skills down here. So these down here, her unlock skills, very, very powerful. Increase evocation gauge by 1 to 2, powers up Mystic Cross, and then these are going to be powerful skills here as well. These might even be buffed right here by 5.0 as well, which is going to make her do a lot of damage. I think this skill and this skill are the same skill, I'm pretty sure. So this gets a 5.0 increase here. This goes in double dip, so it's a 10.0 increase. So it's going to be 27, 28 mod. 38 multiplier. So very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. She does do good damage. This is non-elemental though. Oh no, this is light elemental. Excuse me. When I read light, for some reason my brain interpreted the light as like a little bit of damage. So she does do good damage. I just do not like, and this also gets buffed up here as well. Again, I do believe that's this skill. Possibly. It looks like it. Yeah, so it's going to be a 10.0 multiplier increase. That's going to double that. So she does do a lot of damage, guys. She is very, very good. I just don't really understand her design as a summoner. Magic spells here. And then magic damage 44, increase evo gauge by 10, magic 250%. So she's got all this summoner stuff, no evo damage. This stuff right here, like these evo skills, they're just kind of like there, I guess. It's not really a part of her kit that you really care about. You know, but it's something that you can use, that you can do damage when an enemy is immune to physical magical damage, right? Because evil damage are fixed attacks. They don't use your killers or anything like that, but you can get in there and still do damage that way. But yeah, her other non-summoner stuff is actually very, 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 very powerful. 10.0 multiplier right here, five here, and 5 from her passive is 10 total. You put 10 of it here and 10 of it here. That's crazy. So it's going to be a 20.0 multiplier in total. This is going to buff her up to, what did I say this was? 27, 28. 58 multiplier. 58 mod skill here. So you want to build her up like a mage. You do not want to build her up like a summoner. Don't use her as a summoner. If you build her up as a summoner, she's going to be bad. If you build her up as a mage, though, she's going to be very, very strong. And as you can see here, she's going to have a very, very long time. This doesn't wear off. It can't be dispelled. You can't do it until turn 3. So maybe, you know, you kind of wait around for a while and then you just go off. In that sort of way. You're going to use these skills to gain access to the triple cast. You're going to use these skills here. You're going to use these skills to gain access to triple cast, and you're going to use these skills here to gain access to her skills that actually do damage. So she's just kind of like gated behind using these skills, using this skill, using one of these skills for the triple cast, and then using what skill? One of these skills up here that does the imperil for you as well, to gain access to these big skills down here. Her unlock skills right here, the Mystic Cross ones, and then do big damage. So very, very strong. She doesn't just come out the gate and smack them around with that, but she can triple cast them. These just cost MP, nothing crazy, no limit burst cost, anything of that nature. So once you start spamming that skill out, she can do a lot of damage. Outside of that, not too crazy. And do keep in mind, she's going to gain a bunch of bonus stats from having Bahamut equipped. Bahamut has a lot of attack, defense, magic, spear, HP, and MP. So she's going to be extra tanky, a little bit of extra magic, all that stuff. Compared to like traditional mage there, she should be anyway. And then she should also, you know, be really flexible as a character on top of that, right? She can pierce through defense and magic immunities, and she also has all of the killers in the world on Bahamut 2-star if you do have access to that. Now the last one here is going to be Asura Akstar. All right, so the Asura Akstar, saved him for last. I know a lot of Akstar fans out there, and my goodness, I didn't really realize this video was going to be this long that I just kind of wanted to share these with you, but we're going on the full sneak peek now. TMR materia, 60% attack when equipped with a katana, 100% confusion, resist, 25% human killer here. TMR, not really the craziest thing ever. It's on par. It's got 60% attack. We've seen this traditional 60% conditional materia, 70% conditional materials that are just attack or magic or whatever have you. This one's going to be a little bit of merge of all of them. It's got the confusion resist, it's got the attack 60%, it's got the man eater. So I do like this TMR a lot. It's very, very strong. Due to all of those things being combined with each other, the human killer on there, that is a go-to killer to have on a lot of the time in FFBE. Has STMR, 188 attack, two-handed katana with a passive that gives you 50% attack. So this is a big katana. It's got the highest attack katana of any katana in the game. The 50% attack matters a lot because when you're true double-handing, it is way harder to cap out your attack than it is when you're dual wielding. So this is going to allow you to cap your attack out. It's going to allow you to maybe open up a materia slot or two in order to get a piece of HP gear or limit burst damage gear, or elemental resist piece of gear in there while still maintaining the highest 400% attack as possible. So I do like that as well. Very powerful super TMR. And it also has over 180 attack. Very, very strong there. So let's get into his kit. Let's break it down. He's got katanas, greatswords, swords, and daggers. So katana and greatsword. Katana 99% of the time. And then he's also going to be like Rain, where if you use a skill after another skill, it buffs up the skill. So the skill here, HP and MP restore to the caster, enables triple cast on the unbuffed version. If you buff it up, it enables triple cast for 2 turns to the caster as well. Okay, and then 2.8 mod followed by a 5.6 mod, and still does the HP and MP restore. He's got Aurora Ray, Kaleidoscope Blade, as Xeno of the Beta Star would let us know. I don't think this is Kaleidoscope Blade, it's something else. But then he's got the Fire and Ice skill still. He's got the non-upgraded versions are low mods that imbue. The upgraded versions are a little bit higher mods that imbue. So nothing crazy. They go from a 3.5 to a 10.5 multiplier. They don't like turn into imperils or anything. They just are imbues. He also has Dark. So he's upgraded to having Dark as well. So he's got Fire, Ice, and Dark imbue. That must be the Asura inside of him. All right. Then he's got Fire, Ice, and Dark imperil to a single target. All right, and if you use the buffed version, the multiplier does go up, obviously. And then it's Fire, Ice, Dark imperil for 5 turns to 1 enemy still, but it goes up to a 100% imperil there as well. So no AoE imperil, but it is single target imperil, and that's really all you need. And he's just like a single target damage dealer, I do believe. So keep that in mind there. And then he's got a consecutive damage stacking skill. His non-upgraded version is a 1 hit on the first, or 1 multiplier on the first 7 hits, and then it goes up from a 6.0 to a 16.0 multiplier on that final hit. Absolute Mirror of Equity frames. If you have the upgraded version, though, the upgraded version does not need to stack, and it's just a 6.0 multiplier on the first 7 hits, and then a 24 mod immediately on the last hit without needing to stack at all. So it's a 30.0 multiplier right there. He does have passive dual cast, okay. And then he's going into his 7-star kit here, his cooldown skills. 5-turn cooldown available on turn 1. Physical and damage. Physical damage against humans. Buff. 200% killer buff for 4 turns to the caster. This is some Roberta tier territory. Enable skill for 5 turns to the caster. Triple cast. Alright, then his next skill, mitigate damage taken by 50% for 3 turns to the caster. Evade 5 physical attacks by 50%, or 5 physical attacks for 3 turns to the caster. There's no percentage chance, 100% chance, 5 stacks of Mirage. Increase limit burst damage by 250% for 2 turns to the caster can't be dispelled. So this is a survivability cooldown. Very powerful. 5 stacks of Mirage, 50% damage mitigation. It's going to keep him up, it's going to keep him alive, keep him walking around. I do like that cooldown skill right then and there. His last skill here is a 3.0 mod on the first 7 hits, followed by a 17.0 mod on the final hit. That's the unupgraded version. Okay, the upgraded version, 5.0 multiplier on the first 7 hits, 20.0 multiplier on the last hit, and then increases the multiplier for a lot of his skills by another 5.0 for 3 turns to the caster can't be dispelled. So very, very powerful, very, very strong skill there once you have it upgraded. This is the blah, 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 this is the Asura skill. Is this in here? Let's see. I don't think it is. No, because there's no, it's not it. I don't think it's in here. No, it's not this one either. No, it's not in here. So this doesn't get the multiplier increase. But like this does, I do believe, as well. Get the multiplier increase? I can't really remember. I ain't gonna lie. I can't really lie. I think it might, I don't know. Anyway, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 skills get multiplier increases. They're all the Asura skills. So this doesn't get it, this doesn't get it. This probably gets it, this probably gets it, this probably gets it, this probably gets it. So all of these skills up here get it. I think this gets it too. But 5.0 multiplier increases there. His passives here: attack and MP 30%, fire, ice, and dark resist 20%, physical damage against physical and magical damage, against humans by 75%, attack plus 20%, physical evasion 30%, defense and spirit 20%, 50% true double hand attack, resist to sleep paralysis and petrify 100%, 10% MP per turn, attack plus 30%, LB gauge 2 per turn, LB fill rate 50% increase there for the high tide. Attack and defense by 50% when equipped with a katana. You're going to want to have a katana on him at all times. 50% attack increase equipment attack when equipped with a single wielding weapon, so another 50% true double hand. TMR and Super TMR equipped his trust ability, increases Asura's bonus stats by 50%, chance to ignore fatal damage 100% when HP is above 1, and then auto cast a skill at the start of the battle, 20% MP, attack and HP plus 40%, and then a 100% increase to true double hand again. So he's got 200% true double hand, very, very powerful. HP defense passive, so he should be pretty tanky as well. His triple cast here, the skill that's auto cast at the start of the battle is triple cast on turn 1. So he starts the battle with triple cast unlocked, and then you can go through, you can imbue yourself, you can use one of the skills that, one of the Asura skills to imbue yourself here, right? Because you don't really need this skill to be super crazy at the start. So you do an imbue, maybe then you do like a huge imperil, and then you chain them up, right? Or you start stacking or something like that, and then you keep going in doing that, or you use like a cooldown skill as your third skill to re-unlock the triple cast. Is probably what you do right here, actually, is you imbue, unlock triple cast again, and imperil, and then start doing a bunch of damage, something like that. I haven't really looked too far into him here. His limit burst here maxed out. Physical damage 25 times multiplier with an or 50% defense. So a 50 times multiplier limit burst. Increase attack by 250% for 6 turns to the caster, and increase the multiplier of all of his Asura skills, or at least the vast majority of them, by 5.0 for 6 turns to the caster. Can't be dispelled. So 34 limit burst crystal cost, 20 hit skill. Shouldn't be too hard to power off, and looks pretty powerful. I want to say when I originally looked at him, I looked at him when he first came up. I don't know if I just missed it, or if I didn't see that you could re-unlock triple cast with a couple of his other stuff, and I thought it'd be way worse. But I do believe that you can get his, just like Rain, you can get him up to like a 40-ish, 40, 45, somewhere around there multiplier increase. If you could get this by a 10.0 multiplier increase, it'd be 15, this would be 30, it'd be 45. So, somewhere around there. His other skill up here could do this too. If you could get the, what is this? The stacking skill. If you gave this a 10.0 multiplier increase, this would be 6 and 24, so 30, and then 10 here and 10 here. 50.0 multiplier right here as well on the buff version. So very powerful character for you. Go ahead, and 50 times multipliers are nothing to joke around with. We have like a Lena right now, and that's 50 times multiplier on a hybrid skill, so it's really not even 50 times multiplier. This is 50 times multiplier full attack, using all of your weapon variants on your weapon, getting your attack sky high. Very, very strong, very, very powerful. So if you're looking forward to it, we have Akstar in Asura, Bahamut and Fina. We have Ifrit Rain and Diabolos Sol. So keep that in mind. Very strong. We won't see these characters for a while, but I want to get this out there because I thought these units were really cool. And that CG limit burst, ooh, I can't wait. But if you want to see more stuff like this, guys, go ahead, hit the subscription button, follow me on YouTube. Make sure the notification bell is on. I'm still getting a lot of complaints. I don't know what to do outside of tell you guys to just double check that it's on for a million things. And then if you want to just bookmark the page and check up daily, that's an option too, guys. So take care out there, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have fun out there.